ring light color is rookie. Let's change that. Don't mind me. Oh, well, who cares? It's Monday and it's like really late, so why do we care what the ring light looks like, right? Anywho, so usually we begin the evening with the weekly tea. And this week's tea, pulling out my deck. Yes, I said that. I'm pulling out my deck. This week's tea, I want to take a moment to talk about social media and how it can be used in good ways and bad ways. Because this week I saw social media be used in some ways that were good and then some ways that were not good. And I'm going to take a minute to talk about that. So, this last week, you know, a lot of people knew that there was something major that had happened to a specific family. I'm not going to go into details and say names, but if you know, you know. And that wasn't the main point of the tea. But what had happened was there was some announcements or lack of, you know, information within the announcements that got misconstrued heavily. And I just want to take a moment to talk about that. So, as a content creator, as an influencer, whatever you wish to call yourself, anybody that has an audience, anybody that has a following of people that rely on you for information or for content or for entertainment or for anything, they come to you to hear what you have to say, see what you have to do. You are responsible for what you put out there. Point blank period. You are responsible for what you tell people and the information that you present and how you present it and what people do with that. Because if it comes from you, then you're literally sending out a vibration into the universe, okay? Whether it's a good vibration, a positive vibration, or negative vibration, uplifting or downsliding, it's totally up to you and how you present it. Me being a tarot reader, one of the things that I was taught in the very beginning, and it's seldomly taught anymore, but it's not just towards tarot, but everything in life, is you are responsible for your craft. In the tarot, I am responsible for what I put out there. I am responsible for the information I provide to a client. I was just telling Fluff today that I had a client, she's a good friend of mine on Facebook, and if she's watching, hi Dee. And she came to me for a reading, and she had had some marital issues. And she asked for, I'd given her a few readings, and I told her, I'm not going to tell you everything in this reading, I'm actually going to write some stuff down. And if this comes into fruition, I will show you at a later date. And I even sealed it, and I wrote my name, I wrote the date and name on the envelope and said, when this comes into fruition, we'll open this. Well, it came into fruition, and we opened it, and she said, oh my God, you were spot on. Why didn't you tell me this information? I specifically told her that I could have told you this, but it would have detoured you from your natural path. And that natural path was going to be a good one for you. It was what you wanted. So if I told you, no, this is what's going to happen, this is how it's going to come, you would have relied on it, you wouldn't have worked for it. And you would have, we call it romanticizing. You would have done that, and you wouldn't have worked and gone in the direction naturally. You probably would have been like, I don't have to do this because this is coming, right? So I didn't inform her of all the specific details, because being a responsible reader, we are responsible for human psychology and what we put out there. A lot of people don't want to take responsibility for what you put out there. We want to tell people, oh, you're an adult, what you do with it is up to you and you have your own free will. Okay, but if you present it one way and people gain that trust with you, then they are going to take that information and run with it within the trust that they have with you. So people trust me to give them things raw and unedited, and without, I'm not Willy Wonka, I don't sugarcoat anything, if you've ever had a reading by me, you know this. I tell you where you F up. I tell you where you're backsliding. I tell you the tea in the tarot. I am what was known as a cutthroat tarotist because I do that. I don't find any benefit to you to essentially kiss your ass, okay? You came to me for a reason, and I'm going to give it to you that way. And so, going back to my original statement, so I had made a tweet this week about something that had occurred, and for some reason, maybe it was a miscommunication within my verbiage, but it seemed that people assumed I was referring to certain people in that statement, and if I had been, I would have tagged you in it. If I have something to say to a specific person, I will definitely say it, whether it's in a private DM or an open tweet or post or whatever. And so my words got misconstrued, and I caught it being misconstrued. Like, I went and saw what people were saying about me behind my back, which wasn't behind my back, it was in another live stream. And I said, it's not what I said. No. And the reason I didn't give out the information people wanted in that tweet was because it had to do with the safety of somebody I cared about. If somebody I care about's in the hospital, I'm not telling people they're in the hospital. Do you know why? Because, like I said in my forwarding statement, you are responsible for what you put out there. If a criminal knows, or somebody who's watching this person knows every footstep they make, and knows that they're in the hospital, they're going to go mess with their home. They're going to go mess with their stuff because these people are technically incapacitated right now. No. I'm not trying to withhold information for my benefit. I'm withholding it for the benefit of somebody else. It's called being responsible. And so to have people chatter about me was upsetting. But then we got it quashed. We got it solved. But I'm just using it as an example, purely an example of how you don't handle social media, how you don't handle presenting information to a mass audience, because number one, tone is never interpreted through written word. Very seldomly properly is it interpreted, unless you literally parenthesize excited, pissed off, whatever. But if you speak it in a way that, if you speak it verbally, people can kind of get your body language and your tone deciphered and understand where you're coming from a little bit better. But in a simple written, so many X amount of characters tweet, it probably won't come across properly. So we have emojis to help with that. I didn't use any, but it was a simple thing that got taken in a horrible direction. And we can do that in anything that we do. That's why I say, when you are presenting something via social media, when you are presenting something on YouTube, TikTok, any of these platforms, you are responsible for what you put out there. And a lot of people have gotten backlash for it in the past. You know, they said something on social media and it gained a following on it, and these followers went and attacked people, caused issue. But they're like, well, I'm not responsible for what people do with what I say. You're a liar. Yes, you are. Okay, you don't have to say it. You can go and write it down in a book that you're pissed at somebody. You don't have to take it to social media. You don't have to take it to your YouTube, your TikTok, your Instagram, whatever. You can just sit there and say, I'm mad at you. Take it to that person. Go punch a punching bag. Go do something, but stop relying on, social media as your open diary. Okay? Because what you feel today, you're not going to feel a year from now. You might, but you probably won't. You'll have different feelings about it. So be better people. Be adults. If you're one of those that has to spew word vomit all the time, then you probably don't need social media. Because it's probably not the best place for you. And I've tried to train that to my teen daughters who, they're teenagers and they don't go on social media that much. It's very rare that they do. They have their friends and they chat with them in private, but they don't really go to their social media and kind of, explode. And I've noticed that a lot of people tend to do that, or they take something someplace else and essentially gossip about it. And I think that we can do better as people. We can be more responsible with what comes off of our fingertips and out of our mouth. And I think that we should all practice that a little more substantially, and that is my tea for the week. Okay, so that's why you'll see I give out a little bit of information in the tarot. I give enough, and I have to word it a specific way. If you have one spread and 20 readers, you're going to get 20 different interpretations of that reading. Why? Not because each card means something different per se. It's the way that person manifests their knowledge. So yeah, they'll say if you have any basic knowledge of psychology, you will be able to give somebody a reading. Yeah, you can. You can manipulate someone well enough and pretend. You can. I've seen it happen many, many times. That's how people on hotlines make a lot of money. But I know because I worked for hotlines and I quit them because my motto is I will be the tarot reader that you go to where you will never need another tarot reader. Because my job isn't for you to want another reading. My job is for you to get information to excel your life and excel your path so that you don't need stuff like this. So that you are confident within yourself and your abilities to manifest your own success. That's what I do. That's why I am a law of attraction advocate and specialist. I actually went to mind mastery school, and a lot of people don't know that there is such thing as mind mastery schools. And they are taught by NASA physicists. Mine was, and they taught me all about energy, manifestation, what energy actually does, and how it's a constant. We all know that. We went to high school. But it teaches you about what you're putting out into the world, how it reflects, how you can train your mind to actually create success. And when I did that was when I was coming out of a horrible, nasty divorce, and I decided I wanted something better for my life overall. It took me 3 months worth of telling my mind I wasn't a loser to believe that I wasn't a loser. It took me 6 months before I said I'm going to make the best life that I can for myself and my children, and I began that path, and things changed. So we are, as much as we are responsible for what we put out there and the vibrations we put out there with it. You can tell anybody anything they want. You can tell them that their animal passed away, and if you do it with a smile on your face, they're not going to hurt as bad on the initial. They'll hurt later once their mind thinks about the loss. And so I have learned how to present things properly. I have learned, of course, I backslide. I have emotions. I'm human. I'm flawed. We all are. We're not going to be perfect all the time. But I've learned to present things properly. I've learned how to present things that actually cause an effect for, not me, but for the person that I'm reading for, or the person I'm just giving basic information to. I've had a lot of people come to me because their life wasn't in a good place. They didn't want to read it. They just wanted to talk. And I said, okay, sure, I'll hear you out. I always listen. And then I followed up with, what is it that you're trying to do? What is it that you want? What is it that you see yourself being? And how can I help you with that? And I apply that towards people with their channels when they're having issues with your channel. I'm like, well, what is your ASQ? And if you don't know what ASQ is and you're on YouTube, that's part of your problem. And because that is something, that is a verbiage we use very much in Google when I worked there. And they tell you, to succeed on your channel, you have to be able to identify your ASQ and be able to figure out how to associate it within your algorithms. And so there's a little bit of leaked information. It's not really leaked information, it's just in their training modules. But when you can present that and present it to your targeted audience, you gain traction, you gain subscribers, and you actually improve your channel overall because you become a better content creator because you identify what's needed out there and you target that. If you're in the entertainment side of YouTube, it's probably hard to identify the ASQ in that, but you just have to think about it a little bit harder. You gotta get a little more creative. But that's our job, right? We're creative people, and that's why we're on YouTube. But anyway, so there's some tea, there's some information. Be responsible with what you put forward. Be responsible for the information and the vibration of what you put forward. And don't twist my words and worry about vibrations, damn it. I know PLE's in the chat, and I know what he's capable of doing with words. Anyway, yeah. So it's probably time to get the party started, right? Sorry, I had to get all that nastiness out the way. Well, it's not really nasty. It's just, being a human being. And if you know what I'm talking about, we're leaving it at that. All right? Anywho, this week we are using the deck that I have chosen. Was a deck that got me through. Remember I said I worked hotlines for a little bit. I worked in a metaphysics store. That one wasn't as bad, but I just saw some I worked in a couple of metaphysics stores, and one of them I just saw people being really they were creating that environment of, codependency on readings because it gained money for the reader. And I wasn't doing that, so I wasn't one of their favorite readers on the board because I wasn't making it where they prided you on having repeats, the same client come back to you. That's how they scorecarded you. And I was like, why would I want someone constantly coming back spending their money? We had readers that had a person calling in every day. And at the bare bones minimum for a reading in that place for 15 minutes was $40. So the least you would spend was $40. And it would go up to 100, 150 and all that. But I was like, imagine, first off, props to you for having that kind of money to be able to spend on a reading every damn day. But imagine not being able to live your life unless you called somebody and they stair-stepped you through it. It's, to me, it's that's not living. That's scary, if anything. But it does happen. People get addicted to psychics and tarot readers and stuff like that, and I don't nurture that environment. And so when I left, I was like, no. I can't ever go back to something like this. But this was the deck that I used when I worked in those hotlines. It was the Morgan-Greer tarot, specifically in the tin because I had a really small desk to work on. So I had to get crafty. And sometimes you saw last week, I kind of used more than one card to lay out a spread. So more than one deck to lay out spreads. And to be creative with that, I had to use smaller decks. Yeah. Tiny decks need love too. Anyway, moving along, we'll start off with our wonderful Aries. Actually, we're going to move this out of the way because there's already a lot of stuff on this table. Anyway. Oh yeah, and I have a giveaway coming up soon. I have 2 sets of these, and I need to get rid of one of them because I have too many. You can never have too many. But I have a lot of decks, and I can't keep duplicates because I am literally running out of places to put tarot decks. And that's sad because one should always have extra room. I should have a whole room dedicated to my tarot stuff because I would fill that up too. But then Fluff would probably not be a happy camper about that. But anyway, I need to get rid of one of these. And these are conjure cards. And these work a little, if you're familiar with Appalachian styles of divination readings and cartomancy, these are based out of the Appalachian styles. So yeah, they're kind of cool. I will crack open my deck and do a whole thing when it's time for me to do the actual giveaway. But I'm giving you all a sneak peek. I got to get rid of one of these, so I got to figure out when I'm doing that. Nonetheless, I had that on my table for a reason. Alright, Aries. Let's see what's going on for this week for our wonderful Aries gang. And we usually don't have too many Aries in the chat, but if there is one, and this sign doesn't, or this reading doesn't apply to you, these are general readings and they don't always apply to everyone. So if that is the case for you, you can check on our previous week's readings, or you can check your moon and your ascending or rising signs. You can also check your Venus placement if you're looking in towards love or relationships, anything like that. If you need your natal chart done, there's awesome places online to get them done. I can read and decipher a natal chart for you if you need. You can contact me at Twitter, or you can email me at the email in my information section. Alrighty, Aries. Last week we did longer drawn out readings, and that took so much energy out of me. Did you guys see where I was dropping around Libra or Scorpio. One of them kicks me in the butt. That card flipped over. I'll take that. And I did listen to you guys last week about wanting the double camera system so you guys could see what's going on. As I'm shuffling, you guys can see the cards too. I am working on that. Okay. So for Aries, your bottom of the deck energy is the Devil card. You could be dealing with a Capricorn. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to be, but the Devil card represents Capricorns in the tarot in the major arcana. And basically what I'm seeing here is somebody that probably, because you've got the Hermit card in the upright, Seven of Swords in the upright, King of Swords in reverse. Somebody, Aries, is hiding from somebody. Somebody, either you're detaching or you need to detach. You're not being emotionally open with the person that you're dealing with or the situation that you're dealing with. So you got the Hermit card, Seven of Swords, and the King of Swords in the reverse. And the reason I say you've got the Hermit card, so you're watching things. You got that Seven of Swords, which is that theft type of energy, and King of Swords in reverse, which is that kind of like, I'm going to say what the hell I feel like saying, and I don't give a shit how you feel about it. So to me, the first message that came through for me on this one is literally like, you're hiding from somebody because you're fearing that they're going to backlash on you in ways that are not savory, that are not beneficial to you. So waiting and watching. What are you waiting and watching about, Aries? So right away with that Devil energy, that's something's controlling of you right off the bat. This has to do with control. It could be that you're watching somebody because you feel the need to. Are you being the nasty person here, Aries? Because anybody that sits and tries to manipulate or control or gaslight someone isn't exactly decent energy. Okay, so let's figure out what's going on with this King of Swords here. Let's get some clarity on your King of Swords. This person doesn't give you, or this situation, person, whatever, doesn't give you the ability to make choices. Yeah, no, they'd rather keep you under lock and key. So if you're in a relationship that's like that, Aries, or and when I say relationship, we all know that doesn't necessarily mean romantic. That can be work. That can be anything. Are you feeling like you're bound to a position or you're bound to a job because you have to be there? Because, if you leave, it could be detrimental to you. Are you dealing with a friendship that you're only in the friendship because they know a lot about you and you're afraid that they're going to run around and gossip on you or they're going to spread your tea? That seems to be what you're dealing with here. Yeah, this person isn't this isn't a supportive situation at all. Okay, so we've identified the problem, Aries. Let's get some information or some advice moving forward out of this situation for Aries. That's kind of a kind of a yucky way to kick off the readings, but I can see that happening. We're almost mid-month January and a lot's going on. Alright, you have two aces. You have the Ace of Rods, which is the Ace of Wands, Knight of Cups, and Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so you've got that. You need to get out of this fast forward. Ace of Rods, that is that fast moving, okay, great, I've got it, let's go type attitude. Knight of Cups, emotionally, you're ready. You're ready to make the move. You might not be as secure with it as you want to be because, this isn't king or queen energy. But it's a knight, so he's ready to go. This is ready to go. Ace of Pentacles, meaning new opportunity. It could be with work, but it also could be with home, because Pentacles are definitely grounding energy. So it's stuff that's in your waking period, your waking light. So you need to go ahead and go forward. This isn't going to be without resistance. You got Three of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. It's going to be tough, but you need to go forward and do it. You have the ability. You have the option. If it's not there yet, it is going to come to you. But it might come as soon as you make the move. If the universe is funny, if we put out there that you want something, it's going to give you more of you wanting something. That's what it does. It mirrors back everything that you put out into it. So if you put out there like, I'm successful, it's going to mirror back to you that you're successful by way of whatever it needs to manifest that is success to you. But if you only say it and act it and don't believe it, it doesn't manifest correctly. So you have to say it, do it, and believe it for it to manifest into your total fruition. You have to have that confidence within you that when you make a move, it is the best move for you. So that's what I'm seeing here for you, Aries. You need to make those moves. You need to make those choices. You need to do what is best for you. Nobody has that much control over you, ever, 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 for never, ever. You feel like they do. You even start believing that they do, but they never do. The only person who has control over you is you. So, moving right along to our wonderful Taurus gang. Let's see what messages we have for Taurus for the week of January 10th. Already January 10th. That's insane. That is insane. Didn't we just have Christmas like yesterday? Alrighty. Alright, Taurus. You got something strong going on for you. King of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. But you got you're strong in your assets, but you're worried about something. You've got Ace of Rods in the reverse, so Ace Rods or Wands, so Judgment in the reverse. But you have Nine of Swords in the reverse as well. So you might be realizing that everything doesn't always go your way. It doesn't always go as planned. But you're okay with it. And I think that's what makes you a stronger person, Taurus. Is because, you know, there's a time when you're like, no, this might not be in my better judgment, but I'm not going to go forward with that. And I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about the possible outcome for it. Because I'm good. I'm good with whatever happens. So if you have a situation that you're worried about right now, Taurus, where you're like, yeah, I don't feel like making moves on that. I don't feel like going forward with that energy or that situation. And you're really not concerned too much about the outcome. And like I said, it's because you're good. You've matured in this situation and you've basically, you put the money into the bank, so to speak, either figuratively or metaphorically, or both, that you are good. You are good with whatever the case may be because you prepared for it. You've got that parachute plan already in place. So you don't really worry too much about outcomes. If it's good, great. If it's bad, I'm still good. So let's get some advice moving forward for you. Yeah, once again, you got Two of Swords in reverse. So you're not, I don't think you're not making a decision. That's the thing. You don't have the ambition to make a judgment call on something. You're like, I'm just not worried about it. People are being a little bit, you don't want to be the one that puts in all the work. That's what I'm seeing right here. You got a Page of Pentacles in the upright, but it's a page in the Moon card in reverse. You're like, I'm not making a judgment call on this because I don't have enough of the information that I need to be more substantial in this, in the progression of this. And also, you're like, you know what, I don't want to be the only person that's putting in all the effort. So if this is a relationship type situation, you're like, yeah, I'll progress on this when I see you actually putting in your part. If this is a business type situation, like you said, I'll invest more when, I see other people investing their portion as well. So you're like, as much as you have initiated this or gotten involved, you're like, I've only taken one step out of the 20. And I'm cool with that one step that I've made or that minimal that I've made. I'm really not interested in putting in anything else, and that's the judgment call that you made for yourself on this. And it seems to be one that's good for you, because if you've ever been that kid that had to do group projects and be the one that actually did all the work and it got an A, and all 4 other friends of yours that were out partying ended up benefiting off your A, you know, that, yeah, I've had that happen. I was the smart kid in school, and you know, that's no pat on my back, but it just was. I loved learning, and I loved going to school. I was a big nerd, and I don't know, it was like going to school, that's kind of a lie. In high school, I ditched a lot. I really did. But I liked being able to learn, and so when I thought that something was boring to me, which happened a lot, I would lose interest, and I'd be like, all right, I don't care. I can make up for it in my time. I can take a 2-hour-long lesson and do it in 15 minutes, so it didn't bother me. But yeah, if you're one of those that's got real tired of everybody else who would normally get really low grades benefiting off of your hard work, I get you, Taurus. I get you. Moving along to Gemini. What messages you have for this week. Alright, we have 5 of Swords in the reverse, Page of Cups, and 5 of Pentacles in the reverse, along with 5 of Wands in the reverse. Ooh. So 5s, you have 3 5s right here. 3 5s and a page. So 5s. 5, 5, 5 is the number of change. That's when change occurs. Is in the scale of the 1 to 10, 1 being the beginning, 10 being the end of something. 5 is the changing point. That's where it changes from beginning to, it's changing from going into the woods to the point where you're coming out. So we call it, we see that number as the symbolism of change. And right here you have the 3 5s. So when we see 5 5 5 on the clock, we use that as a manifestation number, and that usually means changes. And right here, I'm seeing you becoming, you have a Page of Cups, so you're not as strong as you want to be with your emotions, but you're definitely tired of fighting a battle. You're definitely tired of being the one that always has to carry the load, and you're just worrying about yourself right now. And not in the way of, I'm gonna worry about, I'm worried and I'm anxious. It's like, nah, you know what, I'm not gonna fight other people's battles for them. I'm not going to get involved in your drama. I'm not gonna do any of that. I'm actually gonna take care of you for once. And that's what I'm seeing here from you, Gemini. You're done. You're kind of done with supporting other people through their storms. You're kind of done with always being the first one to put the sword out there. You're definitely just done with all the angry energy. So that's what I'm seeing here, and you're ready to make that change in your life with that Page of Cups. You know, it's not a totally unfamiliar ground for you, but it's not the most familiar ground for you. You're not too confident in this. It could be meaning that you're leaving relationships, friendships, what people would call toxic situations behind. I mean, yeah, I get it. There's toxicity in this world. There's toxic people, toxic things. But you know what? Sometimes that toxicity is necessary in order for us to change, for us to progress, for us to see a situation for what it's worth. Sometimes you have to go through the natural course of dealing over and over and over again with certain things, certain people, certain situations, before you realize that it is what is not beneficial to you. Because you always, there's some of us that are very loyal and very dedicated, and we want to sit there and give everything our 110%, 200%, whatever you want to call it. We want to just go in there and give it everything and some. We want to go in there and be those people that you can depend on. People take advantage of that real easy, real fast, and for as long as you're willing to give it. So what I'm seeing here, Gemini, is where you're like, I'm no longer willing to give it. Basically, you're like, You did it with no lube, and I'm sick of you. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here is you've been through the ringer and you're done. You finally hit your breaking point. So I see that as amazing for you, Gemini. These are hard steps. It's hard to come into this reality for yourself. It's hard to realize you have to go through so much shit to realize that you don't need that shit, right? So the path was tough, and it's not always been easy for you, but you know, your best advice moving forward is I don't ever I'm not gonna say I don't ever advocate for someone being a bitch, but that's what it's telling you to be. You got Queen of Swords in the reverse, so it's not that I'm gonna sit here and be proper and think this through. Well, she always does think things through, but she gets to the point where she doesn't care. She doesn't care if you're bleeding over her sword because you know what, you stabbed yourself with it. Why am I supposed to care about what you did? You know, after I told you don't do that, don't touch it, it's sharp, and you're over there going, oh, but I hurt my finger. Well, that's what happens. And she's going to tell you in that you stupid fucker way that you don't want to hear because you're like, well, that's not nice. Well, she's told you nice, and you didn't listen. So now you're learning, but you know, it's not always the best. It's not the most balanced way to do it. It's not that equal give and take, but you know what? You're in this position of like, I'm not really interested in equality. I'm interested in doing good for me for once. So in a way that's kind of balancing scales, but you're kind of going forward into it with a really strong dominant approach about yourself, which is fine. After all the bullshit, sometimes we really have to put our guards up. We have to let people know boundaries are in place for a reason. And yeah, you got the Queen of Swords in the reverse. You've also got Queen of Cups in the reverse. So you're like, I'm not going to go into this or go through this necessarily caring. I'm going to do this. It's not always fight mode, but it's like you're in a mode of, I need to do what's best for me and I'm going to do whatever it takes to accomplish that. All right, Gemini, nothing wrong with it. You've been through something in a situation or maybe just overall, and now it's your time to take care of you, and you're going to go through it with a very dominant, probably lackluster attitude, but sometimes that is necessary. Like I said, I don't always advocate for bringing out the more abrasive side of oneself, but I've been known to do it. I do it quite often, actually. I don't let people gaslight me. I don't let people make me feel like I did something wrong when I didn't. I don't like it when people take advantage of me. It happens a lot because I'm a nice person and I like to do nice things because I like seeing people happy. But there comes a point where it's like, you know, I see you thanking everybody else for the stuff they do, but if I do something for you, you don't really make it a big deal like you do everybody else. Like, what's the problem there? And I've seen that happen quite a bit. Where somebody else does something minor, but I do something major, it's like, you know, oh, you would think somebody does something big for you. You would hear, you know, gratitude in the way that is just as big as or just as much as that they give to somebody else smaller. But I understand some of the stuff that I do is major in the fact that they don't want everybody knowing about it. Okay, and I had to learn that. And it's matured me in many ways, but at the same time, it's like I'm human too. But see what I mean? Like, it doesn't always mean that you're wrong for your feelings. It just means you have to figure out what it is about you that needs the applaud and figure out why that's important. And it has nothing to do with the other person that you've given something to. It has everything to do with you and your need for that gratification. Not yet. We have not done Leo yet. And that's kind of the path that I have to walk on a lot, where it's like, but I did the amazing thing that, you know, you asked of me, and I got a minimal thank you compared to what I've seen you give other people who've done far less for you. But like I said, there's a lot of times where people are like, I don't want people to know that somebody's done something that big for me because I don't want people knowing that I'm like in that type of need. And it's like, okay, I have to accept that. So sometimes I have to be the person who receives less for giving more. And it, it can bother you. Okay? And in the situation I've seen with you, Gemini, is that, you've put yourself through a lot, and it's difficult to not to be able to tell people, like, no, this is where the train stops for you, and you're going to have to walk or find your own way. I know. I've had to do it too. All right, Cancer. Moving along to Cancer. Stop. So let's see what messages we got going on for Cancer for this week. Whoa. Cancer, what happened? What happened? Ace of Cups in the reverse, the Strength card in the reverse, and the Fool card. You took a chance on something that didn't come into fruition. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. You went, when one thing doesn't work out and it makes you feel like, less of a person, that's okay. Sometimes we can make, you're obviously going forward. You got that Fool card. The Fool card is a very strong card. It is the first card in the tarot. And the reason it's the Fool card, the reason why it's so strong is because it is a very carefree card. It is literally like, okay, I've never done this before, but I'm going to do whatever it takes to learn it, be it, and all that. You're just going into it. There is nothing holding you back. See, as he's going forward, he's got like a little like hobo sack or knapsack or whatever they're called. And he's got the little dog that's, there to walk with him. And he's got his rod, so he's going forward, but it's one of those things of like, it's like a newborn giraffe, they learn how to walk, they're wobbly with it, but hey, they're doing it. And you don't feel amazing about it. You got Page of Rods in the reverse as your underlying energy, but hey, sometimes when Ace of Cups means, new relationships, when a relationship ends or it didn't happen the way you wanted it to, or it didn't come into fruition at all, and you're like, is it me? What's it about me? I keep putting myself out there and I keep getting nothing in return. Why does this keep happening? You're not giving up on love, even though you feel weak about it. You're not giving up on that situation, but it's tough. It's tough feeling like that. So let's get you some advice moving forward, Cancer. Let's see what we can do about this. What's going to happen with this situation? Alrighty. You got the Empress card as the underlying energy. You've got some good things coming forward to you within this energy. Knight of Rods, so you're going forward. There's what you were messing with before wasn't the mature version of what you needed. Okay? You're going forward now with that maturity, with that understanding, and you're finding what is actually going to ascend you. So you're going to be great. I mean, this is your advice moving forward from that situation that you didn't feel exactly great about. So going forward, becoming that stronger, dominant you actually find the things that are worth holding on to. You actually find the things that you need with that, right underneath of the Empress, you have the High Priestess. So, you're well on your way to maturing yourself into and loving yourself to have things happen for you that you actually want, that actually benefit you, that are definitely very serving of you. So, no, that whatever this was whatever really didn't make you feel all that great, whatever didn't happen, whatever just didn't, okay? And you're walking forward from it and you're like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to be in this. It's okay. Just keep going forward, because that forward movement brings you something that is more amazing for you. If it's faking it until you make it, it's definitely what you need to be doing. Alrighty. Next up is our awesome Leos. Leo. And I know we had someone waiting for Leo, so here we go. Hopefully this resonates. Hopefully it gives you something to work with. Alright. Messages for Leo. You're going through a little something, Leo. You got the Ten of Swords in reverse, so whatever it is that was a hard journey for you, you're not quite done yet, okay? But you know, you got the Hierophant in the reverse next to the Judgment card, next to the High Priestess. Judgment, High Priestess. Alrighty. So you know what? I think you've made the judgment call. You're like, you know what? I'm not gonna listen to this any longer, like this authoritarian type of energy that's either speaking to you or directed to you. The Hierophant, this is like higher authority. This is like upper knowledge, that type of thing. In the reverse, you're like, no. Maybe you've made the judgment call to be like, yeah, they're speaking to me in this, like, I have this authority, I have this knowledge, but I don't want to listen to it anymore. I don't want to, I'm not finding the benefit in it. Sometimes the Hierophant in the reverse conjoined with other cards can also mean, like, you know, divorces or separations of matrimonious relationships. Things that have been sealed through, like, a higher authority type of conjunction. But in this case, I don't see it as being that. You do have the High Priestess card, so I think you're using your best judgment here. Like, I think you're like, you know what, this could be, in some situations, this could be a boss, but most of the time I see this as, like, just this all, like, kind of like a know-it-all. This is somebody who's like, yeah, I'm smarter than you. Like, I know better than you, blah, 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 especially when the Hierophant's in reverse. The information could just be flawed. It could be something that isn't for your best benefit, you know. If I'm going to speak in the tone of religion, you might be at a point where you're like, I'm going to go on a spiritual migration to where I'm going to find out what's best for me. What did Nora say? I didn't catch it. Can you help me just really say what she means? I couldn't understand it. But like I said, this could mean that you're going on a spiritual, like, conquest or inner, you know, where you're just trying to find what spirituality works best for you. And if you're coming out of a different spiritual practice, that can be quite difficult. It can be difficult to find yourself when you've been kind of pre-programmed in a specific way. And we all go through that a lot when we're trying to figure out who we are, what we want to be, what works for us. I know for myself, I was raised in one spiritual practice, and it didn't quite ring the bell for me. And I was sitting there constantly, like, going, I understand this and I do have belief in this, but it's not enough. It's like an uniced cake for me. I need to find more. So I ventured into spiritual practice, just not practicing it, but learning about it. Learning about like Buddhism and learning about Hinduism. Even though I was born into an East Indian family, into the Sikh religion, it wasn't something that was 100% for me. I also wasn't 100%, in the Christianity-based religions. And I would sit there and go, why doesn't it make sense, but it's not 100% with me. So when I went into going forward and learning more about me, I wanted to kind of learn just about the essence of it, what elevated people in faith, and that felt comfortable for me. So that's why I kind of venture with spirituality the way I do, is because I like learning what makes people feel uplifted, and law of attraction works with me, but it also holds hands and blends well with my spiritual practices. And I try not to get into too much of what I am with anybody. If you know me and we've talked about it, then you know. And if you don't, then you don't. And that's okay, because I love you for you and I hope you love me for me. But conduit?
Yes, it was the word she said. We have to be conduits.
I'd have to watch. This is why I don't interact with the chat a whole lot, because when I'm going, I'm going. So I apologize if I can't elaborate on something that isn't sticking out in my head too much right now. We were on Leo's, right? Okay, so Leo, let me get you some advice moving forward, okay? I tried to look at the chat to figure out little things and see, kind of like I glance at it ever so slightly. But if I do that, then I hiccup the whole system. So that's why I don't. I get in the zone. And that's because I have my preparation before I do readings and stuff like that. And usually it's, it just puts me in that mindset of like I'm doing readings and who it speaks to, it speaks to. But let me look back on that, or go ahead and rewind and kind of let me know, message me and be like, it was at this part, and I could probably give you a better understanding of what I was talking about. So advice for Leo. Okay, Leo, let's have a little talk here. Balance, good. Codependency, bad. Okay? When the Nine of Cups is in the upright, that is emotional fulfillment. You are emotionally fulfilled. Okay? In the reverse, that is, I need something in order to be fulfilled. And what does that do for us? It puts us in that wonderful Nine of Swords energy of, but I need this. I need this in order to be balanced in my life. So you will hold up all of your progress. You will hold up everything that you do in order to gain from one thing or one person or one situation. No. So get rid of that energy. Get rid of that mindset, okay? Don't rely on this or that or they. Just do you, okay? I always tell people, live alone for a year. If you've never lived alone, like by yourself, it happens, but like if you're raising kids and you want those children to be prosperous people, they need to be a person first. So what happens is you need to send them out learning what independence is. Independence from not only their parents, but their siblings. Learning how to do things on their own. Like how to pay bills by themselves, how to grocery shop by themselves, how to do their own laundry. Learn when, like, most kids these days, unless you tell them to clean their bathroom, will not clean their bathroom because they're like, it's not that dirty. They need to learn their own filth. They need to learn their own situations. They need to learn how to get out of those situations. They need to learn how to, what happens when you don't pay your rent on time? What happens when you don't pay your cell phone bill because you wanted to go out and buy the latest video game, or you wanted to go out and buy the latest, purse or whatever? Oh yeah, you went and made money, that's great, but you blew your whole check. Okay, so now you're kind of stuck with not being able to pay your rent. Well, mom, dad, I need, no, you need to figure it out. That's how you build an independent person, because an independent person knows how to get into a bad situation, but definitely knows how to get out of them. And when mom and dad are, in the hereafter, we've moved on to our next phase, our kids are going to be good because they know how to get out of a bad situation. They know how to, and they know what a bad situation is. They know how to avoid it now. They know what sticking their hand in fire feels like and why you're told not to do it. So, yeah, don't build codependency within yourself. Don't build codependency within others. Don't keep manifesting that into your life. Don't tell yourself every day. Remember, we had this talk. The universe only gives you back what you give to it. And if you're telling the universe, I need this, it's going to give you, it's going to send back, yes, you need this, you need this. It's going to put you in positions, situations, and places that makes you see that you need something. It's going to keep you trapped in your own energy because that's what you keep sending out. You are responsible for your own vibration. So as long as you can tell yourself, you can start with, I don't need this. You can literally go to bed each night and say, I don't need this, I don't need them, I don't need that, I don't need it. And eventually, it can happen within that night, it can happen within that week. You will find yourself not needing and not relying on the energy of that person, place, thing, whatever it may be. And you will come out of that, you will stop relying on that, you will actually start moving your energy forward. And like I said, as long as you can say it and do it and be it, it will manifest. So do not manifest clingy, nasty energy that doesn't do anything for you. Do not rely on something else in order to take another step in this world. You have to do that for yourself. All right, moving along to our Virgos. Virgo. What have we got going on for our wonderful Virgos for the week of January 10th? There we go, Virgo. Virgo's had a couple good weeks. Let's see if we're continuing onward. Alright, those came up pretty fast, and the bottom of the deck energy is the Temperance card. Alrighty. Page of Swords in reverse, Ten of Cups in reverse, and Nine of Swords in reverse. But we are learning balance here. Okay. So a few weeks ago, I noticed that the Virgos were having, some troubles in the hood, some stuff that they were they're going through some inner workings. And right now, what I'm seeing from this is you're actually learning that your overall happiness is definitely something that is a balance. You're learning how to identify what makes you happy. So remember, we had the Nine of Cups, now here's the Ten of Cups. That's the total end of the deal. That's the total package. Nothing could make you feel any better. When it's in reverse, it's not that you're feeling quite the opposite, but what it is you're figuring out, because you've got that wonderful Nine of Swords in the reverse, so that anxiety energy, you no longer have that. It's in the reverse. You're learning that what you were doing before wasn't exactly what was best for you. Okay, giving to others on over exceeding levels, being there so much for others that, here's an example. You have those friends that are like, I know you'll be there for me through thick and thin and you'll do anything for me. And they always call you. And you almost feel like you're really, really important to them and everything. And then it comes to find out, like, no, they just like to be able to call you because they know you're going to answer. And they like, knowing that, hey, at 3 a.m. you'll be there in my little minute situation. You'll be there to listen to every step I take. Okay, this is just an example. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going on. It's an example. Or I'll give you the last dollar in my pocket. Well, there's certain people that will take that last dollar every time because they know you're going to give it, or they will call you every single time they have a money or financial issue because they know that you'll be the giving person. So you've been through that. You're like, no, I'm a loyal person. I want other people to be happy and successful and everything. But right here, it's telling me like, that didn't always give you the best outcomes for you. You having to work extra hard to make an extra $100 a week just so you'll have it for that other person. You're no longer working for yourself. You're actually building codependency in other people. So now you're realizing like, look, I have to kind of put some boundaries out there. I have to do some stuff for me. I have to let you be you and me be me. And I think that, it's hard. It always is hard. But that balance is what is most important to you right now. And right now you're in that position and situation that you have that opportunity to do that. And you're taking it head on. You're like, okay. So the people that I thought, because this is like I said, the emotional abundance. Like this was situations that really, really did make you feel good, or so you thought, until maybe you found out that some people just don't treat it the same way you do, and you're like, that doesn't work for me. It's not that they're ungrateful. It's not. It's just that they don't really understand all that you go through in order to give, and they don't see it. It's not part of their everyday. So they are just kind of like, whatever. You're a giving person. You're my friend. You're everything. You're even your lovers. Your family members. Things like that. They're just like, but you're there for me. But you're supposed to be there for me. And it's like, yeah, but I gotta be there for me first. I gotta fill up my cup first, because if I don't have anything in my cup, I can't pour for you. You can't take a sip from my cup if I have nothing in it. And I'm the one who gets a sip first. So Virgos do attract narcissists. They really, really do. And the reason a Virgo will attract a narcissist is because a Virgo is a very intriguing sign, and they can be very dominant. They are very, they appeal very well. Okay? And narcissists love strong energy. They like to defeat strong energy and conquer it. So they will come towards Capricorns, they will come towards Virgos, they will come towards anything that can put their life together in a very substantial way. Okay? Doesn't necessarily have to mean those signs in particular, it's just those things that fit that stereotype. So, I'm a Capricorn, but I'm also an Aquarian moon. So I'm a little more on the emotional side of things than I am so much on that grounded, stubborn energy. Like, I'm stubborn, but I can also have emotions. It's difficult. But I personally, when I'm pissed and I don't want to do something, I'm not doing it. And I become Queen of Swords in reverse real quickly. And I tend to tell people what's up real fast. And if you don't like it, don't bring that out in me. That's what I always tell people. If you don't like what you see, then don't sit there and start feeding the monsters. Like, don't do it. And yeah, so that's what I'm seeing right here, Virgo, is you paying attention to your inner voice, and you paying attention to your workings and what you've noticed about you. Okay, what you notice doesn't work for you. What you notice is not the outcome that you thought it was. Okay, you're sitting there figuring that out. You're finding out that, I thought being there and doing these things or these situations were what was good for me, but I just found out that I'm basically running on low fuel so that other people can have a full tank. No. But you're learning this now because you have the opportunity to do that. Okay? You're learning to fill your cup first. Ultimately. That's all. I said all that to say this. You're learning that, I've got this time within me, and I don't like the way this feels. You're kind of having to retrain yourself. And it's difficult to do that. It is very difficult to sit there and be like, dang, now I gotta realize that. But that sucks. And yeah, it sucks. It's hurtful. When people are like, yeah, why are you so salty? It's like, well, it hurts. It hurts to realize that maybe I wasn't doing the right things all along. You know, even though that it looked like it felt like it at the time, but now that I'm able to reflect back, you know, and especially right now, new year, new you type energy, right? Where you're really, really thinking about things. And that's what I'm seeing from this. You know, is you had that opportunity to think about it and you're like, oh. So, alrighty, let's get you some advice moving forward, Virgo. Advice moving forward. Alrighty. We got the World card. So cycles. Alrighty. But it's in the upright. So the cycles complete themselves, and that's good. So 6 of Pentacles in reverse, so that equal give and take. Yeah, you know what? It's heartbreaking. It is. It's heartbreaking when stuff's not equal. But you know what? You got that 3 of Wands right there. So you are able to identify. Even if it hurts, you're able to identify when something's not equal. And that's okay. And you know when is the time to choose you and move forward from it. And that's what you're doing. So basically your advice moving forward was your same thing as what was in your identifier, and keep going forward. Let those cycles complete themselves. If people are going to stick around in your life, they're going to stick around in your life. You know, point blank period. No matter what happens, what's meant to be is going to be. Those that aren't meant to be in your life, those situations, those people, those things, if it's not meant to be, it goes away. You know, if you can buy it on a shelf, it's not yours. It never is. You can't take it with you. What you can take with you is being a good person, is your vibration, is what you put out there in the world. Your legacy is what you can take with you. You can't take anything you buy with money. Money is a man-made thing, and it will stay within man. It will not go with you into your next spiritual journey. It will not go with you after you leave mankind, when you go back to the earth. You know, it doesn't go with you. So all these things that you think that matter, they don't, because they're not even yours. It's stuff that stays here. So if it stays here, it's cool to have, but it's not the ultimate important thing. Like, let me put it to you this way. I work in the funeral industry, and I've never seen a Brinks truck follow a hearse. You can't take it with you, okay? Alrighty, so moving along to our awesome Libra gang. Libra. And we'll take a quick second, since we're about halfway through, to thank my wonderful mods who sit here every Monday and keep the chat clean, keep things flowing and going, and who place anybody who wants to act unruly into the candy ass corner, which is where they belong. We also have a crybaby corner for people that want to sit there and make everything about them. So we can put you in the crybaby corner, which is a simple timeout, or we can put you in the candy ass corner, which is a get off my channel and go find something else that actually motivates you. Yeah. So I want to thank my mods for doing that for me on every single Monday, and for sharing things out and being that awesome notification squad that lets everybody know where to be on Monday nights. It's either here or at the house of Melissa and Patrick, which I don't think they went live tonight. But usually we're the Monday night team, and we hold it down on the Mondays when you're coming home and someone pissed you off at work. We try to ease the burn a little bit. Alrighty, Libra. Messages for Libra for the week of January 10th. Let's see what we got going on for you. I think I'm allergic to my hairspray, because every time I get hair on my face, I'm like, ooh. All right, Libra. So you're becoming detached from something. You got the devil in reverse. Could be dealing with a Capricorn. Don't necessarily mean you are, but could be. Ace of Pentacles in reverse. You're letting something go and moving forward. You got the Nine of Wands right here. Letting something go and moving forward. You're like, bye with all that. It didn't do good for me. I'm going to feel good about myself now. But, you know what? It's like, kind of like with Virgo. It's unfamiliar territory. It's not balancing within you somehow. This could mean work. This could mean you're giving up a job. You're walking away from a job that was just demanding way too much of you with that Ace of Pentacles right there. And you're like, you know what? If this is a work-related thing, this is how I see this situation. It's one of those things where you went into work and said, each and every last one of y'all, I'm done. And people are like, well, you must have a new job. I'm like, yes, I do. Because you all suck. But you may not have a new job. You just went in there saving your face. But that's the situation I'm seeing from this. Is one of those of like, you know what? No. I'm not doing this anymore. Now, if this isn't a like physical job, this could also be a hobby. This could be, you know, something like YouTube. This could be a relationship, a friendship, something that's tangible, something that was an opportunity for you at one point and no longer serves you. I hate saying that because everything serves you, just sometimes doesn't serve you good stuff, you know. It's like going to the cafeteria when you were in school. There are good days and there are bad days. So whatever this is didn't serve you quite what you needed. All right, and you identified it, and you were like, I don't care, bye. And that's what I'm seeing from this right here. Interesting though. Interesting, Libra. Let's get you some advice moving forward from this. I like that you're feeling confident about it. I just don't like that it's not possibly balancing you so well. And that could be a money thing because it was, you know, Two of Pentacles in reverse. So it can relate to money. Alright, so you know what? New opportunities aren't always easy to come by. You got Ace of Cups in reverse as your bottom of the deck energy. So Ace of Cups in reverse being the basis for the advice. It's like, you're like, oh, this doesn't feel that great. Maybe I jumped the gun on something. But you know what? You didn't. What you need to do is you need to take, you know, you've got the opportunity to move away from this unscathed. You do have the Six of Swords in reverse right here, though, so you're not totally moving on from it. You need to take some dominance to this. You got King of Swords in the upright. You got Nine of Pentacles. You need to own your shit, okay? That's what you need to do. You need to own up to this and be like, you know what? Whatever is occurring, you know, whether it's leaving a situation, it's going to be leaving a situation, but leaving a person, leaving a job or whatever, you got to sit there and be like, I know for a fact that I'm going to do better than this right here, because I could braid spaghetti all day long and it would be better than this. I could eat water with a fork and it would be better than this. So that's what you have to tell yourself, is like, it's not strong enough to keep you in one place. It doesn't hold that, it doesn't have that dominance over you. You can't let it. So that's the way I see it is. And the wonderful thing about Libras is I'm raising one. Have you made a Libra? I made one. She is the apple of my eye and at times the bane of my day because she is so much like her mom. How a Libra can be like a Capricorn, I don't know. But she is 100% a Libra. She is stubborn. Lord, is she? But she's giving. She's a real, my Libra's a real sweetheart. But if she don't want to do something and you try to control her, she's going to come up swinging. And that's one thing I've noticed about her. She's not afraid. And I've never met a Libra that is like fearful of their own ambition. Like, they're apprehensive sometimes, but once they see red, they're like, no, I'm done with your ass. And so they're, whatever it is, you know, or they're like, I'm coming at you, you know, I'm taking that ass. That's how Libras can be. And I love them for it. And I think they're amazing. But there are times where it's like, would you behave? And the whole world will tell you that. They'll tell you to behave, Libra. No. It's not going to happen. I have no, my Libra, no. No, she won't. She's a great person. She has a heart of gold. But you can't argue with her. Like, there's times where my daughter puts me in my place. And I'm like, who the you think you are? And she'll call me out on my bullshit. Doesn't matter how, like, I'm her mom and I have this authority over her. Nope, it don't matter. She will find a way to prove her point. If she feels that that point needs to be said, she will find a way to say it. And I love her for that. I actually try nurturing it, even though sometimes it backfires on me and I'm the target. Because kids get mad at their parents. They really do. They really do. And she will backfire on me and she'll be like, look, Mom, you're the one. And I have to be like, excuse you, I'm your mom. You don't talk to me like that. But should it matter that I'm her mom if I'm in the wrong? And that's the way I see it. Is she is a person and I'm a person. And if one person's wrong, regardless of titles or substance, you need to be called out on it. You need to figure out what that reality check is. And I think it hurts more because it's coming from my kid. And I want to be the best mom I can be to them at any given time. Sometimes the best mom isn't always the favorite mom, but it's, having to do something that's best for someone isn't always like the easiest thing in the world. And with her, I'm like, she will give me one, she will call me out. And that's one thing I do like about Libras is they do it in a completely different way than any other sign that I've seen. So Libra, you strong little things. Not much can control you, but when something does, it's usually pretty big. And for you to come out of that is a testament to your strength. And it is definitely a testament to your abilities. So never underestimate yourself. And to the rest of the world, don't underestimate a Libra. They will come and they will show you. Anyway, I know there's a Scorpio, at least one Scorpio in the chat. They're always around. But let's move right along to our awesome Scorpio. Scorpio. I'm mixing them up real good. I guess I feel like I need to do that. Okay, I guess we were done. I listened to my deck for always I try to. Hey! Something bad happened in the chat. Where were you? He's sleeping. Alright, Scorpio. Apparently it's your week because you ended up with 4 cards. Alrighty. So, Scorpio, the relationship is doing really, really, really well. Okay, did we make decisions about something? Or has something just... Happy home, happy heart. You got that 10 of Pentacles right there, which is a very strong happy home. Things are doing really well in the home life. Could be doing really well with finances too. If not, that's okay. Sometimes happy home isn't always happy finance. But you've got this wonderful 9 of Wands energy. So you're like, I'm good, I'm solid, I've got a good base. I can build, I can do anything I want from here. Yes, you can. You've got some communication coming in to you soon that is not going to be something that you dig all that well. Justice in reverse. What's going on there, Scorpio? underlying energy for the reading is the Five of Cups. So when you see 3 cups spilled over, you're ignoring the 2 that are left behind when it's in the upright. In the reverse, so we're going to pay attention. We're going to be kind of resourceful. We're going to be like, yeah, that sucks, but I got 2 more cups. So that's what I'm seeing from this. You're going to find out something is going to come forward that is not justifiable to you. Okay, we'll say it like that. Well, we can't leave Scorpios with something like that. We got to get some advice moving forward. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle the deck for that advice moving forward. Alright, advice moving forward for our Scorpio. That one flipped. Decision to be made, Scorpio. You got 2 of Swords in the upright, so decisions need to be made, and you're going to need to be a little bit more resourceful with them. King of Rods, something's not going forward, and you're feeling at a loss. But you know what? Be resourceful. Be resourceful. Be clever, is what I'm going to tell you. Be clever, and you will have a person that you need to be relying on. Somebody, you got a clarifier for this. Feminine energy. Could be a female, doesn't have to be. Don't be afraid to ask this person for help. Feminine energy, somebody that has been there for you. And that's the person that's going to help kind of guide you through this on a more substantial level. Let's see if there's one more card, because only 2 came up with that. Somebody you bond well with. But I will tell you this much, you do have the Lover's card right here, and you have the High Priestess. This is probably somebody who understands things and is very intuitive, but at the same time, this might have something to do with your love life. Okay, Scorpio? And if it so should, you need to be clever and resourceful. Alright? Alright, alright? I'm going to leave that as it is, Scorpio. Because like I said in the beginning of the video, I don't like to detour people from doing the things that they need to do, especially when it has to do with being clever. I don't want to detour your path. Because Scorpios are naturally clever. Moving right along to our wonderful Saggies. Sagittarius. How he can sleep like right there while I'm doing it, I don't know, but he can. Saggy, Saggy, Saggy. Alrighty. Messages for Sagittarius for the week of January 10th. Ooh, ooh. Saggy. I like it. I like this a lot. Cool. Alright, I'll show you in a minute. Bottom of the deck, the Devil in reverse. So, where you could have been dealing with a Capricorn, it doesn't exactly mean you have to be Capricorn. You come up a lot. But this is Capricorn season, so that could be a thing too. But you're literally coming out of that having dominance over you, having something, having pressure over you, having, you know, if you've had something with addiction, whether it's to, you know, substance or people or things or whatever the case may be, something that has literally had a hold over you, you're coming out from that and you're learning to love, like, whether you're learning to love again, whether this is loving, I want to say learning to love yourself, which if that's the message for somebody, that's the message for you. But this could be a budding new relationship. And this could be a lot of things, because right here you have 10 of Cups energy. That's complete and utter fulfillment. That's why I want to say this has to do with loving yourself, becoming abundantly in love with you. But this could be abundantly in love with anything, person, place, thing. Page of Rods going forward, and the Hangman in the reverse. So, where you're kind of like, I used to sit and watch, I used to hang around and just kind of watch things. Now you're like, I'm ready to go forward. I'm ready to, it's time. It's time now. It's time for you to do you, fall in love with you, fall in love with everything about you. It's time for you to nurture hobbies. It's time for you to nurture your gifts. It's time for you to just nurture you, to love you, and to love everything about you. Love every quirk, every dent, every, scuff, every bruise, every wrinkle, every, whatever the case may be. Love it all, because it definitely is your time for that. No time like the present. But you spent years and years loving everybody else that way. And it's always been hard for you. It's always been hard for you because you carried the weight of everything that's ever happened. And in that, everything that's ever happened to you, other people, everything, and in that, trying to find that light in the heavy is difficult. And I know that because I do that. But I think we all do. Especially if you're an empath or anything like that, where you just understand people really, really well, it's difficult to love yourself when you're caring so much for others and doing so much for others and being for others. And it's also difficult for you to accept love from others when you go through things like that. But now you're at a point where you're like, I think I can handle this. I think I can let love in, both in and out. Okay? So this is definitely, these are two cards that are amazing to have. And to see that things are going to prosper, you no longer have to play the wait and see. You're like, nope, I'm going to dive in and I'm going to be good. And there's moments where it's like, you're so intimidated by the deep side of the pool. Remember when you're a little kid, you're like, I ain't going in there. You're like, I know it's deep and I'm gonna drown, I'm gonna die. I'm like, well, you know how to swim. No, I'm still gonna die. No, you're not gonna die. But it was intimidating for the longest time because of the profoundness of that water. And I'm speaking, as people, that the profoundness of getting into the deep is very intimidating. Because the further we go down, the heavier that water is. The less to be seen, the less to be safe with. And now you're like, I don't care. I'm going to jump in and I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to enjoy the fact that nothing restrains me, nothing limits me. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing to have. It's a good thing to feel. So let's get some advice moving forward for our wonderful Saggies. Exploded everywhere. Hard work. You're going to be working hard. This is something that's going to be helping you work on yourself, work on things. Produce work. You might find that, this is a time where you might get a new job. Or you might find that your passions are invoking things in you that you want to work more towards. You're not limited, even when you feel like you can be limited. I want you to go backwards and look at the things that you've left behind because you felt limited. Or you felt that you didn't have the time for, or you felt that you didn't quite give yourself the space to enjoy. I want you to go back to those. I want you to go back to the points where you didn't realize that there was that hidden opportunity. You are limitless. The universe in itself is limitless. There is no limitations here. The only limitation is your mind and its ability to tell you what's up and how to do it. So go back to where you felt like I just didn't have that opportunity and start from there, rebuild. Because that is when the rose blooms so big, that you can't confine it back into a bulb. Once it starts blooming, it literally does its own thing. So you want to go ahead and tighten up those areas of your soul that you didn't quite give it that ample opportunity back then, because situations, life, whatever the case may be, finances, whatever, limited you. But if you have that ability now, you've got that drive. You're going to find the things that feed your soul to no end. And you need to dive deep into those. Okay, Saggy, like, just, if it was, like, let's put it this way. The Saggy, if you were somebody who used to love to paint, or whatever the case may be, paint, draw, style hair, whatever the case may be, you were like, no, this used to make me really, really happy. But I thought, I wasn't either good at it, I didn't have a strong supporter, I didn't have the money for the supplies, whatever the case may be. Now you have that opportunity to kind of give yourself that ability to embellish on those things. Go back to them. You don't need the most expensive of anything to be an amazing painter. You can water paint with a $2 water paint set. You just got to be a little crafty and creative. But that's where YouTube comes into play. I've seen people do some amazing stuff with like bare bones minimum things. So get crafty, get creative, enjoy what you bring to the table, because what you thought was nothing was somebody else's everything. And they relied on it and they enjoyed it. It's like me with the tarot. I put this on the back burner for about a year. And then I kept saying I'm gonna work on it, and it was in my mind space to do so, but I didn't. And helping Fluff with his stuff and everything, and his channel was going, and we were investing a lot more into that. But for me, it was like, oh no, I'll work on it, and he would push me all the time. Don't think he did, but I was just like, no, I'm not in the space for it. When I went back and started doing it, I would tell him it's never for me, it's always for the other people who come in and they just need a little help with that situation or that time in their life. And I have to, it has to happen in proper divine timing. And he was like, okay. And he had to learn, like, when I started doing the lives, like, oh yeah, there's a benefit to others. But it when I can give, therefore I can receive, is how I feel about it. And I told him when I'm able to accept that in return is when it's only time for me to go back to do reads. And he had to understand and see it in real time. So, Capricorns. Messages for Capricorns for the week of January 10th. You're going to hear him snore in a minute. Did I drop a card? I did. Come back here, you. Yes, Fluff does snore. If you're not familiar with Fluff snoring, he does. Y'all see that thing just flip up and hit me? Alrighty, Capricorn, Empress in reverse. Alrighty, maybe we're not feeling totally in our 100% nurturing mode. You've also got the Seven of Cups in the reverse, Page of Rods in the reverse, Seven of Swords in the upright. So sevens are apparently a number for you right now, Capricorn. You have two of them right here. So, feeling without choices, feeling not wanting to move forward, and having the sense of something taken from you. You're not on your A game right now, Capricorn. Let's see what's going on here. going on for Capricorn? Let's clarify some stuff. Are you getting in your way of your own success? Capricorns do that. They do. Yeah, and it's funny that I say that because the devil in reverse comes up. So, you've got the Ten of Pentacles and you've got the Queen of Rods. You know what? Stop tripping over yourself, because going forward you're going to see that, you know, when it's true, when a Capricorn is in their glory, when they feel like they're doing abundantly great, that's when they glow up. They are just like, nope, I'm unstoppable, I'm on top of my game. But, you know, if you're going to, you need to release yourself from thinking that you need to be something, a specific thing, a specific, you know, tier in this world. You have to have specific things. You have to show abundance. You don't. And you know that, Capricorn. But, you know, it's difficult telling us that. So, when you feel like your options are limited and you're like, no, I don't want to pursue that avenue, it's usually your intention telling, you know, our intentions are usually pretty good. But yeah, don't fight for things that aren't an option to you, is another message I'm getting. If it's not yours, it's not yours, leave it alone. Alright? If anything, that is going to steal your time, money, and effort. And that's one thing a Capricorn doesn't like. So, advice going forward, worry about you. But, you know, don't let you get the best of you. Okay? Do the things that are the best about you. You know, love yourself. You know, go spend that time, money, and effort on you. Not on things that aren't for you or aren't meant to be in your path. I know us Capricorns can want things for the sake of our ego tells us that we should have them. And, you know, our ego can tell us, I need a 14-bedroom home, and I'm going to work really hard and I'm going to get it. You know, but if it's just you in that 14-bedroom home, I mean, that's a lot of upkeep. You know, so basically you're working for the sake of saying I have a 14-bedroom mansion, and it's not doing anything for you. You know, it's just there. It's like you have no one to share it with. And I know some Capricorns that wouldn't care about that, but at the same time, you know, if it's feeding your soul, it's probably not something that you can buy. And you need to feed you and glow you up with things that feed your soul right now. Alrighty, Capricorn. That message sounded like it came through. Hopefully it did for you. And let's move right along to our wonderful Aquarius gang. Let's get some messages for Aquarius. There's one. And I thank all my mods that outlasted my wonderful fiance. Because if I had to rely on him, there could be people running rampant through the chat right now. Alright, Aquarius. 6 of Pentacles, so equal give and take. That is a big thing going on for you right now. And you've made the judgment call to only deal with things that add to you instead of taking away from you. You've got Knight of Cups in the reverse. You've got also the High Priestess in reverse. But, you know, the High Priestess in reverse, yet even though she's very intuitive, very knowing, very understanding, she's been there, she's done that, she's a manifester in and of herself. Right now, you could totally be feeling like, you know, the things that I'm putting out there aren't coming back to me the way I want them to be. And you could be having some issues with things and being equal and balanced to you Doesn't necessarily mean, you know, that you're the bad person in any equation. It's just like, you know, things just aren't coming through my way. And let's see what's going on with that. Let's clarify this message for Aquarius. Heartbreak. You're tired of getting your heart broken. I get it. But, you know, and you're like, every time I move forward with something, it's like, you know, it always ends up bad for me. It always ends up hurting. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to be a little bit more grounded within yourself. Okay? Sometimes you have to sit there and say, yeah, this might hurt, but it's actually going to build a stronger me. And I know that sounds really cheesy. But making those judgment calls of being like, I can withstand the storm to build a better me, usually what's best for you. Bottom of the deck energy being the Ace of Rods in the reverse. You're having a hard time moving forward with something. You've made the judgment to do so. It's literally there. But it's been said, like, you need to do this. Like, all the signs point to it. But you're kind of like, a little apprehensive. I want to be a little bit more clever about it with the Fool in reverse. You want to be a little bit more prepared for things. But you know what? Heartache comes in everything. And it's one of those things, Aquarius, that Aquarians are usually pretty emotional. And my mom's an Aquarius. She drives me crazy. But it's one of those things where you can't let every heartache determine a future component. You can't let heartache be the driving factor for you to shape and mold yourself. Emotions come and go. They're the most subjective thing that we have. But an Aquarius will sometimes build a whole existence off of something they feel emotionally. And I've met a few that have done that. It kind of also depends on what's in your chart. But I know some really grounded sound Aquariuses. I know some that have, like, when an Aquarius actually understands what's going on in their world and how to control it and how to change it, they become like masters of themselves. So that's what I think you're trying to do. You're trying to go forward with that, but it's painful. And pain isn't something that you're processing too well. You don't want to become complacent in your energy either. So Aquarius, you know, just keep you got to get a little bit grounded at times too. So if you don't have earth energy in your chart, you know, you're going to have probably a little more difficulty doing that. But you need to figure out points where you can cool down. Okay, when stuff gets too emotional, unplug. Just unplug from everything. Go take a shower. Go just sit within yourself. You know, eat that bowl of mac and cheese or whatever is going to make you feel a little bit better. Don't overdo it though. But you need to separate that. Not everything is based off of an emotional principle. And not everything is geared towards you. Okay? Not everything someone says is all about you either. So being an Aquarius is tough. I got an Aquarian moon, so trust me. Alright, Pisces. Pisces. Messages for the week of January 10th for our wonderful Pisces. Let's see what we got. Alrighty. Alright, Pisces. Page of Pentacles in the reverse of the underlying energy. So, something just, you know, energy is kind of at a standstill with things, and right now you're finding yourself, you know, the fight's over. You're not going to carry these heavy burdens anymore. You've got Four of Swords in the reverse. You took some heavy hits. You took some heavy hits lately, but you know what? 10 of Swords in reverse, worst part is over. And that is something that I always find, you know, solace in is, you know, the worst of it's at least over. Let's get some clarifiers for you and some advice moving forward. Heavy energy right here, though. You got new things coming forward, though, Pisces. So from all that you have gone through, new things are coming. You're starting to take control of the situation, and instead of people taking from you, you're not necessarily taking from others, but you are learning to accept the loss. Like, you're learning to be okay with the loss. Like, whatever left, you're like, fine, fuck it, you know? But you got the Ace of Swords, which we've talked about this as being that, like, aha, you know, moment of, I know what's up, but you have it with the Judgment card, so good things are coming. You know, it's just, they come with, and they're going to be rather effortless to you. Once things start rolling out, once things start happening for you, once this new endeavor comes into play, and it's going to be something that's honestly good for you. The Ace of Swords can also, you know, denote honesty and truth. And the truth comes out for you, and when it does, it's, you know, you didn't have to work for it. You don't have to make this happen. Whatever nasty situation happened, you know, whatever bad stuff happened, don't worry. It's going to expose itself, and you won't have to worry about it doing it. You're not going to have to work for it. All right? And it is no longer going to be taken from you. Okay? So that is a heavy reading with a very specific outcome for a very specific Pisces. So, to the Pisces that refers to, I'm going to leave that one as is because I don't want to put out too much information or make it too muddy. And I want that to be very specific to the person because I think that's what it needed to be. Alrighty. So, I was going to do a few more film a few more videos for the monthly readings tonight, but I'm actually starting to get a headache. And it's been a long day for me, and Fluff is asleep, and I don't know if you can hear the snores, but they are there. So I think I'm going to call this one a night. I will probably do some filming tomorrow. I have a few videos coming out, and I just got to get those all situated and taken care of and uploaded. I've been a little bit lucky, but it's been a crazy week. Alrighty, everyone, I want to thank everybody who stuck around through the entire read. I appreciate everybody that did pop in and stick by and listen to everything and listen to all 12 signs. I appreciate you so much. Huge shout out to all of my moderators for always holding it down, keeping the links going, keeping the chat clean and positive, and having a heavy vibrational flow that works for everyone. I love you all, and I will definitely see you all next week. So thank you so much, and please drop a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe if you haven't. And I thank you all once again, and you guys all stay safe.